Hello, and welcome to Sideways. You've probably noticed in the past few episodes that for some strange reason I keep forgetting to record an introduction when I'm out walking the dogs, and you'll also probably be able to hear from the ambience that I've forgotten to do it again this week because I'm not out with the dogs, they're actually asleep behind me. So, this week we're talking about giving too much information to the person you're communicating with because of some kind of insecurity in you which has nothing to do with them. I may have over-explained that. Martin is grumpy about being stuck in traffic. A plane is brought down by flatulence. And we debate the tricky ethical question of whether or not to let a delivery driver into your house to use the toilet. There's also a squirrel on wheels and some scaring of small children with frightening masks. Overexplaining.
Good evening.
Hello. You look very bald tonight.
Very bald. Just where I got the light shining on in certain directions, reflecting off my bald pate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is what I immediately noticed.
Gathered. Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, pretty good, mate. Yeah, how about you?
Oh, pretty good, mate. How about you?
Well, apart from a long drive, the traffic is just ridiculous at the moment.
Oh,
so it's just
that makes a change for starting off talking about the traffic rather than the weather.
Well, it does. I thought it'd make a nice change, but yeah, it's been like that with all the road closures around. It's just a nightmare. But yeah, we'll move on, won't we?
Does it make you swear?
It does internally to myself, but I try and leave plenty of time for my journey. But just get
it only makes you swear internally.
Yeah. I don't let it get too much. You just got to sit with it, haven't you? Nothing you can do about it.
Well, you've certainly got to sit with it when it comes to being stuck in traffic.
It's just creeping along and not getting out of first gear for ages gets a bit monotonous, doesn't it?
Is that a metaphor?
Well, I think I'm...
For life, creeping along and not getting out of first gear.
Yeah, it could be, couldn't it? If you feel like you're starting to be a bit of a rut. But I think I'm sort of over-explaining. That's what I'm trying to get to, which is really what the thrust of this week's episode is all about.
I'm glad you've reminded me of that because it was so long ago that you told me what you wanted to talk about. I'd forgotten.
I know, yeah. Well, I had to reread my notes several times just to get up to speed.
Yeah.
It's sort of an extension of, we've mentioned it in the past about no being a complete sentence.
Yeah.
It's sort of an extension of that, really. Well, I want to look at why we can over-explain, what it feels like when you stop doing it, and a few little tips on that, and what you gain from stop doing it as well. So there's a few bits in this. So bear with me, won't you?
Well, personally, I'm looking forward to it immensely.
Well, actually, before we get into the meat of it, I've got another little squirrel story this week. If you remember when we recorded our last one, remember the angry squirrel who put a couple.
I do remember the angry squirrel because a couple of days after you told the story of the angry squirrel, I was walking down from the heath back home with the dogs, and a squirrel came rushing along a fence that was just about at my head level, and I thought, if that's an angry squirrel, I'm in quite a lot of trouble here.
Big
Fortunately,
trouble,
it didn't leap off the fence straight into my face.
Or put you in hospital like the one in California did. But this one's a little bit more heartwarming because it's a story about a squirrel that lost his front legs in a trap.
I don't like it already.
No, well, someone rescued him, and they've attached a couple of wheels to the front of him instead on a little board they strap on. So he can't climb trees anymore, bless him, but he can scoot around and feed himself. So he's got a certain quality of life back, which is quite nice, really, isn't it?
I suppose it is quite nice, although if your whole sort of life revolves around sort of climbing up trees and taking nuts and stuff, it'd be quite frustrating, wouldn't it?
It'd be frustrating, but he's adjusted apparently. Like he's still got. I mean, I think squirrels are often misrepresented in some ways. People see them as sort of rats with furry tails. And
right, what are they then?
Well, they're probably exactly that, but I think that they. What I mean is, people don't bother to rescue them really, and it's quite nice that someone has bothered to get this. I was going to say this squirrel back on its feet, but that's not exactly true.
Get this squirrel back on its wheels.
Back on its wheels. I wonder if they've got Hot Wheels on the front. They're real whizzy ones.
Yeah, I would like to see. Was there a picture of it?
I haven't got it here, but when I was doing the research, there was a picture of him. Yeah,
there was a picture.
Yeah.
Talking of which, did you notice that I can't remember what we were talking about, but the last time I said I'd put a link for something in the description, I actually did it. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did see that. I'm not sure.
I can't remember what it was, though.
I don't think the link actually worked when I tried it, but...
What?
Oh, no, perhaps it did. No, I think it once I'd copied and pasted it, it worked all right. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Do you remember what it was in relation to?
No, I haven't got a Scooby, have you?
Because the last time we met, we were talking about lookalikes, weren't we?
Yes.
And someone had told you looked like the bloke out of Ghost. Is that right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Anyway, I looked him up because I wanted to see.
Yeah.
And actually, it was. I think you should be affronted by that.
Yeah. Well,
because his name's Vincent Schiavelli.
Oh, right. All right. Okay. I'm not affronted by that.
The thing is, this is the bit you might be affronted by. The reason he looked like he did was because he had something called Marfan syndrome, which is a genetic disorder that affects the connective tissue in your body. So basically, anyone that says that you look like him reckons you've got Marfan syndrome.
Well, they wouldn't have known what that was because I've never heard of that. But yeah.
Well, you have now.
I'm freshly affronted. I wasn't at the time, but now I am.
Yeah. Well, you should be affronted. I think it's an outrage. Anyway, he died on Boxing Day 2005. If you're interested.
I wasn't interested, but I suppose it's. I'll probably look more like him as he is now.
Well, I was just going to say if he died on Boxing Day 2005, there's another similarity with you because it sounds like he enjoyed Christmas about as much as you do.
He took it upon himself to ruin everyone's Christmas by popping his clogs.
Yeah. His family all saying cheers, weren't they? Oh, thanks very much. Yeah. You absolutely ruined Christmas for us.
Completely ruined it. I suppose I got over Christmas Day before the fateful event, but yeah, I'm going to try and be a bit less grinchy about Christmas this year, I think.
Are you? Excellent. I'll look forward to that. We'll see how you do with that, shall we?
We will see how I do, but I'm quite determined to. But whether it'll happen or not, I don't know.
Okay.
But a second little story I quite liked was there was a flight from Dubai to Amsterdam, and it had to make an emergency landing.
Yeah.
After a fight broke out when one of the passengers wouldn't stop farting, which I got. He was coughing so loud it was very smelly apparently, and so a scuffle broke out and the plane had to come down. Yeah, you don't get that often. Do you?
It's not often planes brought down by flatulence, is it?
It is a little bit guffing. Yeah, down it came.
I remember you had to stop once when we were coming back from a gig. Due to flatulence, do you remember?
Yes, I did. That was because you guffed in the car and it was so eggy I was reaching. Exactly, I do remember that, yeah. It was late at night as well. I wanted to get home. Oh, I hope you're happy with yourself. I'd forgotten about that.
I was young and wild in those days.
You were, yeah, and eating too much egg mayonnaise or whatever it was. Caused the.
I've never been able to tolerate that.
No, but I think again you're over-explaining it. You're taking this.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, just one other. Sorry, can I just one other small item of administrative housekeeping?
Okay.
I've every single episode of Sideways is now on our YouTube channel. Although it's not a video of every single episode, there is a recording. Every single recording is now there because I know that's where some people like to listen to their podcasts.
Well, that's. Do you know what that came up on yesterday? Someone asked me, said, "Is it on YouTube?" And I said, "Well, we put a couple on there, but it was difficult to edit and difficult to get out."
No,
but you've
all of them are.
Well done.
Every single, well, as I say, it wasn't a great deal of effort because the majority of them are just audio.
Just audio. That's good. That's good.
But some people, for some reason, enjoy listening to podcasts on YouTube. I don't know. These youngsters don't really understand it. But
we're catering accordingly, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I can move on now, can I?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, mate. Well, it is about over-explaining. I don't know if you ever feel the need to do that sometimes instead of this no is a complete sentence. I find that
I think I do it a lot.
Yeah, I think I do too, which is why I want to look at why we do that. And apparently, the research I was doing suggests that perhaps it's sort of it comes from our childhood, really, when we're sort of taught explicitly or maybe implicitly that being understood equals sort of being safe. And if we express ourselves clearly enough, others might, sort of get us and treat us better. So we sort of explain, don't we, and clarify, and we soften, and we probably give far more context than is necessary or what's asked for. And
so it's about a sense of self.
It is really, and apparently this urge to over-explain is often sort of rooted in early survival strategies. So if you are raised in a sort of emotionally unpredictable household, clarity might serve as a sort of self-protection. And trying to anticipate others' reactions, sort of smoothing things over by softening it, or presenting a bulletproof rationale. We felt that was a way to avoid or punishment or fallout, emotional fallout. So it's something that can come from quite early on, apparently.
Did Paul over-explain when he kicked his slipper over 2 gardens?
Yeah, there was a long story attached to it that wasn't true. Yes, he was being naughty.
Yeah, so it's a form of over-explaining, isn't it? A fabrication of the truth.
He didn't want to get punished for losing his slipper. So you can understand his.
Who does?
I don't know if you've ever been punished for losing a slipper, but I think it could be quite heavy.
I was punished once for writing in biro on the bottom of my slipper.
Oh yeah, but that was lovely, wasn't it? I think we talked about writing on the bottom of rubber-soled slippers before. There was something quite exquisitely nice about it, wasn't there?
But my mum said the ink would go on the carpets.
Yeah, whatever you wrote on the bottom of your slipper would be printed backwards on the carpet up right along the hallway.
Yeah.
So, over-explaining. It's not always about trying to win approval, because it can be shaped by past experiences. But you particularly find it with people that people please, or they feel anxious. Or have experienced trauma, and again they use it to avoid some sort of conflict or rejection.
They're all coming from the same place, really, aren't they? They're all about safety, emotional safety.
Yeah. The pattern's often the same. You probably know people that do it, and have become sort of known for doing it, but I think we've all been guilty. I know I've been guilty of it in the past. If you're trying to deliver some bad news, you try and pop it in amongst as they call it, the old shit sandwich, don't you? With a bit of good news and a bit of bad news and a bit of good news at the end of it. Totally overboard, totally unnecessary.
I think my particular habit is to say the same thing more than once to try and ensure that the point's got across. But I know when I kind of reflect on it, that's much more about my comfort than it is because there is a doubt about the clarity of my message.
Yeah,
I'll probably say this again in a minute in a slightly different way.
Well, I think also sometimes they can be embellished with lies about why you can't do something or can't go somewhere. What
do you mean, me specifically?
No, not you. Whether you feel guilty, you might have just coughed to it and said, "Yeah, I do that all the time." But you may relate to this because there's a little example I found in my research is if you say to your family, for example, I won't be attending the family event this weekend, which is clear and it's respectful and complete. But that silence that follows it sort of can feel a bit stark, can't it? And and a lot of people would say at that point, I've had a long week and I really need to rest. I know it's important to you, but I wish I could make it work. But maybe I could stop by for a little while. But you've got no intention of doing so. All those sort of things you go on over-explaining what the situation is. So what started out as a sort of boundary becomes a negotiation. So you're sort of negotiating why you're not going to be there. Which that can often invite sort of pushback or guilt tripping or emotional manipulation.
Well, I think it also when people see through it, it tends to make people feel worse about it than they would have done otherwise. You kind of in your effort to gain the respect of people, you actually end up losing it more rapidly.
No,
it's much better to say, no, I'm not coming to that do on Friday because I don't like you. That's much better.
It's harsh, but straight to the point, isn't it?
No one can misunderstand that, can they?
No, they can't. And there's not an ounce of excess meat on that statement, is there?
No,
we do try and do that. But if you do try, if you do try and just use a simple phrase and that silence, which can be disorienting, you may be seen potentially. You may fear that you come across as cold or dismissive, but it's one of those things we've talked about before. It's like a muscle that needs to be exercised. If you practice it and do it continuously, you find that there's a bit of a lightness that comes over it, because you suddenly realise you don't need a whole paragraph or a couple of paragraphs to sort of assert a boundary. And I don't know if you ever, I know I do sometimes. You rehearse what you're going to say sometimes, don't you? You go over it and you put it in, anticipating what the reaction is going to be. And when you rehearse like that, sometimes you can over-exaggerate or bring in other items into the argument which aren't really necessary.
Yeah, I think that everybody ends up feeling a bit uncomfortable then.
Yeah.
Instead of the clarity that comes with something just very plain.
Yeah, it does, and there's some examples there, and you tell me if you think these are quite good, whether you'd feel they'd fit neatly with you. One of them certainly I feel is a little bit brusque still, but a couple of ways you could deal with this situation. We'll say the invite to a family do again. You could say, "I'm not available, but thanks for the invitation," and leave it at that. Is that harsh? Is that that's all right?
I think that's okay. I mean, it might not be okay if it was very close family.
Yeah.
You've been invited to a christening.
Yeah.
For your granddaughter, for example.
Yeah.
You say, I can't make it, but thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
So I think that's context specific, isn't it?
You're right.
Funeral.
A funeral would be a tricky one, wouldn't it? Thanks for the invitation. So you have to get it right, don't you? The second one
I think that one, yeah.
The second one was, that doesn't work for me.
I don't like that one.
No,
I don't like that one. Yeah. And I'll tell you why I don't like it. I don't like it because whether or not this is how you're feeling, it's making everything about you.
Yeah, quite, yeah.
That doesn't work for me, suggests that, there's a kind of inference there that all plans should consider what I want.
Yeah.
I think in comparison, the first one is far better than that. That doesn't work for me.
Well, I think that's probably one of the best ones, actually, because the next one is I've made my decision. That's pretty harsh, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, again, that one, that feels like you'd only really need that if you were getting pushback.
Yeah.
So if someone said to you, do you want to come to this? And you said, no, I don't. And they said, well, come on, it'll be good. Then you might need to, because that I made my decision is essentially a firm boundary.
Yeah.
And I think probably only required if someone's trying to transgress your boundary.
Yeah, I agree. The next one, I'd prefer not to go into details, but I appreciate your understanding.
I don't like that one.
No.
And I'll tell you why I don't like that one. I don't like that one because it feels contradictory.
Yeah, it
If
does.
I tell you I'm not going to go into details, how can I expect your understanding? Because I haven't given you anything to understand, have I?
I suppose it's just the understanding you're not going to be there.
Yeah, but it's also it's assumed, isn't it? It feels a bit. I mean, in a way, and I know this is probably says more about me than it does anything else. But if you've asked me to go to something and I've decided not to, I don't really care about your understanding.
Yeah, quite.
What difference does it make to me? If you're upset because I've exercised my agency and said no thanks, and you don't understand it, well, that's your issue, not mine.
Yeah, I agree. And the last one was, let's shift the conversation. I'm not open to discussing this further.
Yeah, these all feel a bit confrontational. I don't really like it.
No, I don't. When I was looking at these, I thought I don't think I'd feel comfortable saying any of these, apart from that first one. Thanks for the invitation, probably.
I mean, we're kind of focusing here on a situation whereby someone's invited you to something and you're turning it down. Of course, the over-explaining thing can come in lots of different guises, can't it? It can be, you're explaining something to someone because you've done something that's upset them, or, it might be work specific or whatever. So I think all of those things make a big difference.
Yeah.
But I think going back to what we were talking about before, it feels to me as if the real thing about over-explaining is just give the necessary information.
Yeah.
Just say what's necessary. If you're in a situation where the person you're talking to doesn't need to know the ins and outs of why you've decided, you're under no obligation to tell them. However, you might find yourself in situations where it's necessary or useful to tell the other person, give the other person a little bit more detail. But in the end, it's all about what do they need to know versus what is supposedly making you feel a little bit more comfortable, but might actually be misguided.
Yeah, and I suppose it depends if you know the other person well. So you feel more comfortable in saying no, or if for example, if you said to me, "Do you want to go and watch Boston or Journey or Styx?"
Yeah.
You know what the answer would be, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd say, yes, I can't wait. What date? Let me put it in the diary. That's what you'd say, wouldn't you?
I wouldn't need to explain because you already know. But if someone that didn't know me said, "Do you want to go and see Boston or Journey or Styx?" I'd say, well, to be honest, they're not really my cup of tea, but so, have a good time, enjoy it, but I won't be coming along.
Yeah, which is fine.
Is
if you
right?
take
That's
it away from... Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. If you take it away from an invite somewhere, when I think about my tendency to over-explain, it tends not to be related to an excuse I'm making or feeling I've got to justify something.
Yeah.
I think I do it when I'm trying to be clear with someone and I worry about my clarity. I worry about whether they've understood me.
Yeah.
Whereas... if I kind of stop for a moment and just think about it, I could just say, I could make my statement, and actually I know I do this as well, and I could then say to you, does that make sense to you? Or do you understand the point that I'm making?
Yeah.
Because if I check in with you, if I ask you for a bit of feedback, and you tell me, yeah, I've understood that, the likelihood of me then going on to explain it again is somewhat reduced, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So I think it kind of illustrates that if you get into this loop of constantly explaining something, you've lost your awareness of both the context and the other person, and you've become wrapped up in your own emotion. Yeah. So, I mean, you're probably going to come on to talk about ways of avoiding over-explaining, but to me, that's one of the key ones. Get the other person involved in the conversation, ask for feedback, ask them, if what you've told them is kind of necessary for them. I'll just over-explain there. Because I've just said the same thing twice.
But it was succinct enough to squeeze through, wasn't it? It was all right. I understood.
Yeah, maybe.
I understood it perfectly. Yeah. Because it seems to be what you can gain if you do cut this down and stop over explaining. It's supposed to give you you reclaim a bit of emotional energy, especially with those people that do constantly push your boundaries. And you will have to spend. You will spend less time rehearsing what you're going to say, or defending, or recovering, and so you feel more rooted in your values. Because if you don't want to go to a certain thing, if I didn't want to go and watch Journey or Boston or Sticks, it's because my core values are not around that style of music.
Triumph?
Hey?
Triumph?
Triumph. I don't remember Triumph.
REO Speedwagon?
REO Speedwagon. They're all very similar, mate, aren't they? You keep pushing the boundaries on that. And I will have to say, no is a complete sentence. No, I'm not going to go and watch them.
Yeah. I just thought of something then and I've forgotten what it was. Oh, yeah, I know what it was. I'm imagining that over-explaining is something that comes quite easy to people in early recovery.
Yeah. It does. I mean, it's and also when you're an active addiction, you over-explain why you can't go somewhere, and you get all sorts of lies. But the bottom line is you're pissed, or you're high,
or why you're in 3 hours late, stinking of alcohol.
Yeah. Or that. I think a lot of us relate to that one. Yeah. There was a lock-in, I couldn't get out, and that sort of thing. There's a fight I had to break up, and I ended up, going to the hospital with someone. Yeah, all sorts
I got
of
lost
stuff.
and had to go into a pub to ask directions.
Yeah, and there's someone there needed a bit of a hand with something. I had to take a wardrobe upstairs. There's all sorts of things. I'm sure I trotted out many in the past that were coming back.
Well, we know what yours was, but it wasn't much of an over-explain, was it? You used to say, I've got to go to the cash point.
That's right, yeah. 3 hours later, come back all swivelly.
Yeah.
So, we talked about it's like a muscle you need to constantly flex or to flex it, because you won't get it right straight away. I think it takes a bit of practice, and there may be moments where you slip back to your old softening ways or over elaborating, but it's a learning process, and it takes time before you can get to this point where you feel comfortable in doing that. But each time you try, I think you start to trust yourself, and and when you say no without a footnote, people will start to understand that's how you do things, and I think you start to attract a different type of relationship with that person or people. It's not built on performance or compliance, but sort of on a mutual respect. So when you become more attuned to your sort of internal compass rather than external approval, I think it feeds into your own well-being, doesn't it? And the way you feel about yourself.
Yeah, it comes back to the no is a complete sentence. That you can only, unless you live that, then people won't accept it from you. If you are someone who lives by that maxim, then over time people respect it, and they think, well, if you said no, there's no point in me entering any conversation because I know that position's not going to change. You have to adopt. You have to move through life like a Premier League referee, whose decision is final. There's no checking VAR. It's it.
No, it's not.
I've made my decision. I'm not going to the monitor.
Yeah, that's it. It's definitely a pen. Yeah,
exactly. My decision will not be overturned.
Yeah. Perhaps we could have VAR in every aspect of your life. It would create all sorts of problems, wouldn't it? Imagine how long.
Well, everything would take a lot longer, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
everything would take so much longer.
Yeah.
Would you like to go and see Journey Boston Sticks? No, I wouldn't. Well, hang on. We're taking it to VAR. We're taking it to VAR.
Yeah, well, the monitor's playing an extract from each of their gigs. You have to do a critique on it. So why you don't?
Sorry to tell you, Martin. Your decision's been overturned, and you are going to see Boston.
Yep. Okay. I'll get my leg warmers out and my bubbly perm wig, and off I go.
I don't think leg warmers and bubbly perms was Boston, really. I think that's probably more REO Speedwagon.
Probably. Yeah. Very 80s. I'm sure they don't wear all that sort of garb these days. Perhaps I'm wrong.
No, I don't think leg warmers are particularly popular these days.
So, There's not a lot more to this really, but there's a little summing up.
Well, good, because we don't want to over-explain it, do we?
We don't want to over-explain it. It is right to be concise. But I just will read this last little bit, which sums it up. Eventually, you'll discover that you don't need to over-explain to be kind. You don't need to defend your peace to protect it. You don't need to win someone over in order to walk away whole. And that kind of freedom doesn't need an explanation.
Yeah.
That's a summing up quote.
Yes, it's essentially say what you feel you want to say rather than what you feel other people need.
Yeah, that's in a nutshell.
Yeah, I made it even more succinct.
You did.
Which is quite unusual for me.
You reduced it down even further. You didn't dumb it down, did you? Particularly,
No, I hope not.
To a satisfactory conclusion.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
So yeah, it would be right not to go on at this point about it.
It would, yeah. Because if we did a 90-minute episode on not over-explaining, there'd be a cruel irony in that, wouldn't there?
There would, yeah, which wouldn't be appreciated. Not by us trying to record this late on a Monday evening,
exactly, yeah. I mean, it's almost
indeed
middle of the night, isn't it? Now
it is.
It's almost the middle of the night.
It is for you. So okay, well, I wanted to go on to the conundrum feature. Then, have you got one lined up?
No, I haven't. Bear with me. Okay. This one doesn't require any over-explaining. Should you allow a delivery driver to use your bathroom?
Yes. Yeah, I don't.
Should you? I'm interested in this one because it's quite a personal thing, isn't it?
It is.
So DPD turn up with your, with your latest purchase.
Yeah.
And he's bust in for the toilet. Can I use your bathroom? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, to pop in to have a wee. That's fine as long as it doesn't go into like the scenario in Afterlife where the postman goes upstairs to use the loo and actually has a bath.
Yeah, because he's got a date, hasn't he? He's got a date.
So he goes. So I'm still. I just said, "It's all right. I just need to bust in for a wee." I think that'd be fine. I'll be all right with that.
Okay. What about a poo?
A poo. Yeah, but I was thinking about that when you set the conundrum because you can't. From the outset, you can't say, "Look, it's only a number ones, mate. Number two's definitely out." But once they're in, aren't they? It's not something you can negotiate beforehand, really, is it?
It isn't. But you see, this would be a real tricky one for me because everything inside me would be screaming no.
Yeah.
But I'd find it very difficult to say no.
Yeah.
But I really wouldn't want some stranger coming into my house and using my facilities.
No, especially they'd have to go upstairs, wouldn't they, for your loo?
Yeah.
They'd have to go through personal places in your house, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See all my valuable guitars. Facing the joint. Then they might end up having a number twos in my toilet.
Number twos is a proper whiffy one that they leave, like the bloke on the plane.
And I might have just cleaned it.
Well, yeah.
The whole thing is just an aberration for me.
It is. Do you ever find
Fortunately, it's never happened.
No, and it's probably unlikely to. But if you go for a wee in someone else's house, then do you find it a little bit sacrilegious when they've just put some of that nice coloured stuff down it, and you wee onto it and you take it off of the ceramic?
No, I don't really care about that, to be honest. I'm not bothered about that. I was just thinking, I don't think I have any problems using the facilities in other people's houses. I know some people really struggle to go to the toilet in an unfamiliar place or somewhere, even away from their own home.
Yeah.
Which must be very awkward. If you can't ever go to the toilet.
But I do feel sorry for the guys we have in at the rehab. We've got and it's becoming more and more common. So they've come in they've been addicted to ketamine, so they've got ket bladder.
Oh yeah.
And they need to go every 15, 20 minutes. And so every journey is a nightmare for them, trying to plan. They can't go too far before they need to have the loo. So that would be tricky.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able to be delivery drivers, really, would they, when they're in in the midst
Not
of
unless they had a toilet in the van.
a toilet in the van. Or I think Carl Pilkington said that he has a hot water bottle with him. So if he's driving along, just undo it, pop the old fella in, have a wee, and then just screw the top back on, and away you go.
See, I think that's quite. That's full of jeopardy, isn't it? I mean, you've only got to go over a bump or in a pothole.
Well, quite. If you've
got piss all over your legs.
Yeah.
For the rest of the journey.
Do you think I'd be driving without undue care and attention as well? You have a little prang.
Definitely. I've just done a speed awareness course, and I bet if I told them I'd been urinating into a hot water bottle, I'd be on another one.
No, I didn't know you'd been caught speeding. It was. I
got caught twice in the space of a week, and I haven't had any. I've had nothing on my license for well over a decade.
Wow, it wasn't the same place.
No, the first one was Willington Street. I was doing 34 in a 30. That's
harsh, isn't it?
Well, now you say that. My attitude to it was, well, I got caught.
Yeah.
You know, I was exceeding the speed limit. I've only got myself to blame. But then when I got on the speed awareness course, one of the facts they tell you is that if you're doing 31 in a 30, at the point you would have stopped the vehicle, had you been travelling at 30, travelling 31, you'd still be doing 8 miles an hour.
Right, okay.
Which is enough to do someone a lot of damage. Yeah. Kill an elderly person. And definitely knock the legs off a squirrel.
It would, wouldn't it? Yeah.
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 So, the slight sort of soreness I felt that, I was only doing 34, it sort of brought me back down to earth with a bump. Actually, the second time I was done that following week was when you were in the car when we were coming back from seeing Darren Brown.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you thought that it would trip to the light, didn't you? You thought it, yeah.
Yeah.
Was hoping it's someone on the other carriageway.
Yeah, I did. When I got the fine through, I did say it was your fault, but unfortunately, I didn't listen to it.
Did they not? No, the passenger.
No,
definitely scared me. Put my foot down a bit.
Yeah, I said I was being distracted by my passenger. He was kept telling me to drive faster.
Yeah, or you were still under the influence of Darren Brown.
That should have been my defence, shouldn't it?
Yeah, and you're seeing weird shit going on.
Yeah, I should have said, I'd been hypnotised to think I was only going 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, that would have held up in court, wouldn't it?
Bound to have done. Anyway, I don't know how we got onto that. I don't. Urinating.
We'll go on to the gratitude list then.
Hang on, just to confirm though, you'd be okay for a delivery driver to come in.
Yeah,
I am going to say I wouldn't be okay. I wouldn't be okay. Well, you can't control that, as we've established.
No.
I'm going to say I wouldn't be okay, but if I'm honest with myself, I think I'd be screaming no inside, but I'd hear myself saying yes, not a problem.
Yeah.
And then I'd do a deep clean afterwards.
Or if they come in and they've got proper muddy boots on that go all up your stairs and stuff. That would make it worse. It's just
the idea of having a stranger's penis out in my house.
It's not a great image, is it? I thought that won't be on your gratitude list then. So what is on your gratitude list this week?
Shallow cake tins.
Okay, you're going to have to explain that to me because
I don't mean cake tins that don't take things seriously.
No.
Right, okay. I won't over-explain this because I know please. You're not interested.
Not really.
And B, it won't mean anything to you.
No.
All my life, I've been interested in cooking and baking, as you know.
Yeah.
And it's only recently I've realised the difference in the quality of sponge you can get when you're using a shallow sponge tin rather than a higher-sided cake tin.
Oh, okay.
So if you're making a layered cake, like a Victoria sponge, for example.
Yeah.
If you use a lower-sided cake tin, you get a much better result. And I've reached this point in my life. I've only just learned it.
Well,
but it's been a revelation.
Yeah, no, every day's a school
as you can imagine.
Yeah, it's changed your life. I'm sure, isn't it? Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, I mean, now I've told you, I expect it will change yours.
It probably won't because I have neither shallow nor deep cake dishes, tins, whatever they're called.
Yeah. tins that you bake your sponges in.
I can understand you're grateful for finding that at such an advanced age.
Well, all I'm saying to you is next time you bake a Victoria sponge, make sure you use two shallow cake tins, or three if you're making a 3-layered cake, which I know you probably do quite regularly.
I'll take that on board. The very next time I'm baking a Victoria sponge, I'll just take your advice to heart. So mine's a bit different from that, and it's probably things similar to what I've had before, but I was grateful this week on Halloween night to spend the evening together with both my daughters and all my 3 grandsons, all in the same place.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, a proper family do. So you weren't invited and you said no, and that's my final decision.
Can we move the conversation on? I don't want to go into details. I willingly accepted, and there it was. So yeah, that was very nice.
That sounds lovely. Yeah.
Although I did have a skeleton mask on, and that did scare one of my grandsons into running backwards into his mum's legs, crying. Yeah.
Which one?
That was Edward. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then my oldest grandson found out that the impact that the skeleton mask had, so therefore he got hold of it and was running around scaring his younger brother the whole of the night.
Yeah. Did it have the same effect? Because obviously he hasn't got quite the sort of height and presence of you.
No, it did have the same effect. Yeah, in many ways. Yeah, he was. It did bring him to tears. So I felt a little bit.
So that's a client for the future then for us in the therapy world. That's how phobias are born, don't you know?
They probably are. Is it chlorophobia, fear of clowns, or fear of people dressed up? I think.
Yeah, but that wasn't a clown, was it? That's a skeleton.
Yeah, it was. But I think chlorophobia covers people dressed up, doesn't it?
Does it? I didn't know that. Yeah.
I believe so.
Well, I remember my daughter was very frightened that someone dressed up as Mrs. Tiggy Winkle on an Easter egg hunt once. So
it stayed with her.
So, well, I don't know. I don't know how many giant hedgehogs she's seen since, but I'll ask her later.
And you can report back on that. I'll be grateful.
Yeah, I'll report next time.
The next.
I'll write it. I'll write it down in the notebook.
Yeah. Put the link in there. It won't happen. But okay, we're going to the lyric challenge. Are you up for this?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So just to remind us then, so there's 4 questions.
Yeah.
2 points for the first 3 questions. Point for the artist, point for the song. And the last one's a 4-pointer, so it's out of 10.
Hang on. Okay, I'm ready.
Is that you limbering up?
Yeah.
Doing your exercises. Okay, the first one is, I know your eyes in the morning sun.
The Bee Gees, how deep is my love, your love?
Excellent. Point for each of those. I'll let you off the how deep is my love. I should have taken the first answer, but I'm feeling in generous mood. So that's 2 out of 10.
Come on, that's quite impressive, isn't it?
Very good.
Be fair. Yeah. I could when you. It's not often this happens in this game, but when you read the lyric, I thought, I can immediately hear the tune, and then I had to sing it to the chorus before I knew what the song was.
The second one, which I reckon you've got a good chance of getting this one, is this is a chemist's, not a joker's shop.
Yeah, I know this. This is. Has everybody at home got the answer? Because I'm going to tell you what it is. It's Madness.
Yep.
And House of Fun.
House of Fun by Madness. Another 2 points. You've got up. This is the highest you've ever got, 4 so far. So
all I need is something from these last 2.
You will get this one. You'll get this one because this is right up your street.
No pressure. Crikey.
No, it's very straightforward. This one. So the third lyric challenge is one of 15 Vestal virgins.
Okay. Is this Moody Blues or someone like that? Is it? It's not, is it?
No.
One of 15 Vestal virgins.
I thought this would have been a nailed-on one for you, but perhaps I'm.
That's because I
know the answer.
You put too much pressure on me.
It's my fault. You're right.
Hang on. It's definitely your fault. One of 15 Vestal virgins. I'm not getting anything. Is it a band I like?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a band that you don't like then.
Well, they're okay. It's like they're pretty well known for this one song, really, in many ways.
What era are we talking?
We're talking sort of late 60s, early 70s.
I can't get away from
Moody Blues.
Yeah, I can't. Is it Nights in White Satin? That's their song, isn't it? That's the one that I keep getting in my head. I don't know what it is. What is it?
It's very close to that, really. One of 15 Vestal Virgins. It's a whiter shade of pale.
Of course. Bloody hell. Oh.
You blew the chart.
Song. That's the song I was thinking of. But,
was it?
Yeah.
Couldn't quite bring it to mind. Okay, so we're on to the 4-pointer, which is...
That's so disappointing.
Yeah, I can see it. I can hear it.
I feel the need to over-explain my mistake.
As to why you got it wrong.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
So the
I'll just take
it. It's surprising how many of the 4-pointers that people that contact me and say, I got the 4-pointer. It tends to be the people that from a slightly younger generation, really.
Oh, great! Thank you.
Yeah, it's a more modern song, but you might know it's quite a well-known track. So the 4-pointer, the lyric is, "Went from a little to a lot this year."
Went from a little to a lot this year. That's not ringing any bells. So it's modern.
Modern-ish. It's very modern from our point of view.
Right. So it's, the last 20 years then?
Yeah, probably the beginning of the last 20 years. So it might even be a little bit earlier than that.
Is it a band I like?
Not a band.
Oh, it's an artiste.
An artiste, yeah.
Is it someone I like?
No, not particularly. Well, I don't think.
Is it someone you like?
No, not particularly.
Is it someone anyone likes?
Very popular, yes.
American?
Yeah.
From a lot this year. What sort of genre are we talking?
Oh, yeah, we're going very deep into this. You're going into areas I don't really know, but it's I believe she's like a Latino sort of background.
Yeah, I'm not going to get this. No, I don't know who it is.
It's Jennifer Lopez, Jenny from the Block.
Oh, I'd never have got that.
No,
I would never have got that.
I'd have struggled with that one, that's for sure. But you got 4 points.
I got 4, and
it's a consistency.
I feel like I was 3-0 up with 10 minutes to go, and the game's been drawn 3-3.
Equalised, yeah. Oh, I could have had that.
Thanks anyway. Thanks, because you set me up for the week now. I'm depressed.
Well, no, I think you did very well on the first couple. You got,
Don't patronise me.
I'm not going to. I want to over-explain how poorly you've done. But talking about,
I'm so cross about Procol Harum.
Yeah. I thought that's the sort of song. I'm sure you probably learnt to play it on your guitar. One of your early ones you had a go at.
I reckon. Do you know what that is? That's karma for me saying I wouldn't let UPS have a piss in my bathroom.
What goes around comes around. The basic Buddhist principle. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Nice one. Thanks, then, mate. We can cut off now, can't we? We've been banging on far too long.
Over-explaining.
Yeah. Okay, mate.
Laters.
Bye.
Bye. Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work or sort through the extensive archive of past episodes, just visit grahamlandywellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sideways Podcast, and you can email us if you have a question or if there's something you'd like us to cover. But most of all, we want to tell you how grateful we are that you come and listen, and we ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week.